This little keyboard that I'm holding in my hand is called the Roli Piano M. It looks really, really small, but it packs a huge punch, and this thing does things that no other MIDI controller in my whole studio will do. So in this video, I want to show you some of my favorite features of the Roli Piano M. I want to explain how I'm using it in my workflow, and just kind of let you know if it's something that you may or may not want to check out for your own studio. Before we dive in and check all of that out, my name is Austin. You're watching Make Pop Music. If you like this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We have videos like this every single Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, so subscribe so you don't miss them. And before we hop in, I do have a couple things to take care of. We have a sponsor for today, and we are hosting a giveaway. So for the sponsor of today's video, it is Roli. Thank you, Roli, so much for sponsoring our content this week. If you haven't heard of Roli, they're the industry leaders in making expression-based MIDI keyboards. They are known for their intuitive design that really gives creators a ton of endless expression that you wouldn't typically get from a standard MIDI keyboard. They have their flagship series, the Roli C-board, which you may or may not have seen. It has endless expression and tons of features. And then they also have the Roli Piano M series, which is what you see in front of me. This is the modular set of keyboards. They still have a bunch of the Roli expression that you might know and love, like strike, lift, poly aftertouch, vibrato, and pitch bend in the actual key beds. These things pack a super big punch at an affordable price. If you want to check out any Roli products, you can click the link in our description or just visit Roli.com. They are hosting a winter savings event right now, so make sure that you go shop that sale before it's over and save yourself some cash. And the very last thing before we hop in, I want to do a little giveaway. I have 2 extra Piano M's that Roli sent me, and I figured why not give them away to some of you guys. So we're going to be doing a giveaway on YouTube and a giveaway on Instagram for 1 Roli Piano M each. So if you want to enter on Instagram, visit our page, Make Pop Music. You can see the reel down there on how to enter. And if you want to be entered to win on the actual YouTube video, all you need to do is leave a comment between now and Monday, December 16th. I'll be picking a comment at random, and you will get a Roli Piano M. I will say if you're outside of the United States, we might have to talk about shipping because that is going to be kind of a big cost. But if you're in the US, I can handle shipping no charge. If you're outside of the US, we will figure something out for you. But leave a comment down below if you want to be entered to win a Piano M, and visit our Instagram if you want a second chance to win. Now, let's actually get into the video and show you what this thing can do. The first thing that I want to talk about with the Piano M is a pretty obvious one, but it was the first thing that stood out to me, and it is just the portability of this thing. So as you see, you can break these little blocks apart. This is not even connected with a cable. The cable's actually coming into the first one right here, and then you can snap them together. They're completely modular. They can be customized. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm planning on traveling more in 2025. I've always been looking for a MIDI keyboard that I can just pack up, throw it in my backpack, use it with a laptop, and be on the go. I've never really found one that wasn't either ginormous or felt absolutely terrible to use. And so when Roli was interested in sending me the Piano M, that was going to be my primary use case. I was just looking for a keyboard that I could easily throw in a backpack, take to a coffee shop, pack it up, take it to Nashville, take it to New York, whatever. This does that so well. It takes up less space than my actual MacBook. This thing is lightweight, but it feels really sturdy. It's not suspiciously lightweight. It's actually got a little bit of heft at the bottom, but it's not going to weigh your backpack down. It is bus powered, so it can just be powered with a USB that's actually coming in. You can use it wireless for a minute. This thing is actually incredible. So for portability's sake, this is a 10 out of 10. This is something that I'll easily be traveling with. This is going in my backpack with my MacBook, my travel interface, my headphones, and this will be the only keyboard that I ever take on the road with me. So big ups to Roli for actually handling that. I believe they also have a C-board mini, so if you're looking for the C-board, you can also get that in a travel size as well. But with this being modular, I can pack both of these up, take up no room, and then when I get to a hotel or an Airbnb or another studio, I've got a 48 key keyboard just right in front of me. Super easy. So for portability, A++. Let's talk about the second thing, which is customization. So as I said, these come in little blocks. I believe you can expand up to 4, so I think that would be like 96 keys or something like that. These are incredible. They have these little, I don't know if you can see, but they have these little, like, almost chips. They almost look like a Mac power supply. And they just magnetically connect right to one another. Now I can use both of them. Let me show you how it actually looks inside of the Roli dashboard. So you can see right here, I have 2 blocks connected. There's a whole separate app for the Ryzen Grand. That's not what we're using. And inside of this, you can get really nitty-gritty with how you want the actual keyboard to function. So you can handle your strike, your pressure, and your velocity sensitivity, and you can customize this completely. You can go down here and you can do a fixed velocity. So if you don't want it to be, dynamic, you can just set a velocity. You can change it from MPE to multi-channel and single-channel mode. So if you're using synths that aren't MPE certified, you can just use this like a really standard MIDI keyboard. But I have this enabled because most of my synths can handle it. Then you have your pitch bend range. I'll kind of show you how to use this when we talk about the pitch bend function later. You can set the key of the keyboard. So let's say we want to go to E. Let's say we want to go to, let's go to pentatonic minor. it will set the keys of the keyboard to illuminate the key of the song that I'm playing in. So if I want to make sure that I'm in it, and essentially, anything that I play that's lit up will fall within the key. So that's a really, really nice feature. If you're not so much of a keyboardist or a synth player or piano player, and you're really just looking to kind of noodle around, kind of ensures that you're never going to fall out of key and do something a little bit silly. So I love that feature. You can change the colors if you want. If I come down here, I'm set to my user mode, which means I can set this as any color I want. So if I want to go orange, if I want to go blue, pink, just nice to keep an aesthetic studio. You can also change the root note. So let's say I want the root note teal, kind of go for like a Wildberry Pop-Tart. I love the customization of this. It's the only keyboard I have in the studio that has lit keys. And I really, really like it. As somebody who's not very music theory based, this is actually a pretty major help to me. So if I go to G Dorian, like I'll write melodies that I probably wouldn't have written because I'm normally just stuck into like minor, major, and harmonic keys. And without seeing them, sometimes I'll second guess what notes I could or couldn't be using, or what I might want to just try out that I wouldn't typically go for. Outside of that, you can also set your MPE zone. You can handle your transpose. You can also do that on the keyboard right here with these arrows. And it'll kind of transpose with the app as well. You can also hit a transpose. So if you wanted to just, make a C sharp. And then you can change it from channel pressure to poly aftertouch. I love poly aftertouch. That is something that none of my other MIDI keyboards in the studio have either. And there are some really cool synth plugins that can utilize poly aftertouch to get these really, really crazy results. So it's nice to have that in such a small, compact design. And then when we go down here, you can just change whatever your color scheme is. You can go to Pro, which will essentially highlight the root key, and then everything else is white. You can go to User, so that's what we talked about earlier. You can go to Piano, where everything is just white. You can go to Stage, where everything's kind of a dimmed version of the rainbow effect. And then you can go to Rainbow. And if we go to Rainbow, again, we're back into that area where now we have our scale popping up. Where if you go to Piano, the scale functions are not going to be capable in the piano mode just because it's all white. It's just supposed to look pretty. I like it in User and I like it in Rainbow. What you can do is you can also set up multiple scenes, so you can set up multiple modes. So I could have mode 1 be User, where I have pitch bend and pressure. I can have mode 2 be Rainbow, where I don't have pitch bend but I have pressure. I can have 3 be Pro, where I only have pitch bend and no pressure. And then I can do Piano, where none of that is possible. And the easiest way to swap is you can actually just hit this button on your MIDI keyboard. Now I'm in mode 2. Now I'm in mode 3. And now I'm in mode 4. So as we start to talk about how this can handle expression, there may be certain expression functions that you do or don't want depending on what you're doing. So the customization is huge on this. This thing is amazing. So let's go ahead and let's actually start talking about the expression, because that's really where Roli shines, in my opinion. And for some of these examples, we will be using the Roli player. So if we look down here, this is the Roli Studio player. They have a bunch of synths and plucks and key sounds in here. It's really, really cool. In here, you can choose if you want to do the hardware controller or if you want to just set it to basically what the app is going to do. So if I go here, I can set it to hardware control. And I can go in and enable pitch bend. I can enable pressure. I can set my MPE channels. So for now, we're going to leave it like that. And I want to show you some of the cool features that this thing has. So the ones that we're going to focus on are strike, lift, and then pitch bend or vibrato. So for strike, let's take a listen. There's this key sound. If I play it soft, it's like a nice airy little sine pluck. But with strike, if you play it hard, it's going to give you a whole different key sound. So when you're using Roli, whether it's the C-board or the Piano M, using their studio player will give you these patches that are much more dynamic than using it with something like an Arturia or a Serum or any of the other synths that I love. They've designed their patches to specifically work with the system that they've set up. So that. And tons of these have similar things. We'll talk about poly aftertouch in just a second. So there's strike, It's basically the harder that you hit a keyboard, it's going to kind of pull in a slightly different sound. Let's go on to the lift example. This is a really cool feature that I've never seen in any other keyboard. So lift is essentially, I'll show you. We play a sound, and as we take our finger off gently, the sound ends. If we were to take it off hard, some of the patches in here will have that kind of lift mod feature, where this one you're kind of getting that slap back delay, you're getting that unfiltered sound kind of trailing in. So you can get these really cool versus so the lift feature is such a weird function that I never thought that I would actually utilize, but I did utilize this in a track the other day, and it's such a cool thing to just add a little bit of space. So it's crazy how easy it is to kind of recognize that you're lifting off fast. And one thing that I want to say is with this Roli dashboard, if you feel like the sensitivity is not matching your playing style, you can change the pressure, you can change the strike, and you can change the lift. So we can change. So if you feel like it's lifting a little too easy, do something like that. If you feel like it's striking a little bit too easy, you can do the same. And you can do the same with pressure, which is the next thing that we're going to look at over here. So we'll go to the Poly Aftertouch and pressure example. We're still using the Roli. I'm going to break out of this VST in just a second and kind of show you. But check this out. If I play this little ARP, if I press on the key, it's basically acting like a mod wheel. So it's kind of opening up that cutoff. And this is actually going to write something called Aftertouch. So inside of your MIDI and your DAW, if you were to track this, you can actually come back and you can look at exactly what it's writing. So then you can use Aftertouch in tons of different synths. I can show you another cool example. We have Aftertouch right here in Serum. So this is just a patch that I've taken from our sample pack called the Works. And I basically just went to the Matrix and I set Aftertouch to control the filter frequency. So in this, we go down here. If I play a key and I push on it, it's going to open up that filter. And you can get these really, really, really cool pad sounds just by doing that. So you can set Aftertouch in most synth VSTs on the market. And again, if you don't like the velocity of how it's feeling in your hand, you can just go here. You can change it however you want. So we'll come up here. That feels a little too sensitive to me. I'm going to go back down to kind of the standard. There we go. Sorry, my mouse is being very buggy today. And now it feels much more natural. So that's Aftertouch. You can do Poly Aftertouch, which means it will write Aftertouch for any key that you play. A lot of keyboards will not do that. The Roli stuff will. So that's always a really, really nice feature, especially inside of synths that have that capability. And then let's look at the pitch bend function. So I'm actually going to open up the Prophet from Arturia. And for pitch bend, I want to actually go to something that has pitch bend enabled. So I can go to mode 2 right here, enable pitch bend. Let's hit this. So now we're in our rainbow. We have pitch bend and pressure. And inside of the synth that I'm in, the pitch bend range is 2. So we're going to go ahead and set this to 2. We're going to set the pitch bend amount to 2. And so now, essentially you can move the key left and right as you press it. And it'll act as the pitch wheel right here. Check that out. And if you wanted to set this to something different, like let's say that we were to go in, the Roli software, most of their patches are set for like a 48 key range. So let's go to 48. And let's say we want to do like an octave jump on like a bass patch, right? So you can get those really cool slides. You can get really crazy with it. If you were to write the MIDI, let me show you what it looks like. So you can see right here that it looks like it's not doing everything completely to the top, and that's because you have to set the pitch bend range. So as you set this, it'll kind of correspond with however it's actually sending that pitch bend info. And so that's really all that it needs for that synth. If I were to go to Serum, same thing. Or I'm sorry, if I were to go to its Profit, same thing. And so basically, while I got really, really excited that I was going to have a portable MIDI keyboard, I wasn't fully aware of how expressive these things would be. So I'm loving using these on pads. I'm loving using them for like sliding 808s and basses. It's really cool to go into Serum and create things with Aftertouch effects because you can get such a dynamic little pad that is a little bit harder to do on another synth. And again, you can go to kind of your standard, where this doesn't have any of the poly aftertouch, it doesn't have any of the pitch bend, it doesn't have any of the like key bed stuff. Or you can really let this thing sing. So in conclusion, the Roli Piano M does pack a lot of features inside of a really tiny body. Yes, it will be my new travel interface, but this is also staying in the studio as just kind of an expression tool. One thing that I do just want to say though, if you're getting the Roli Piano M, it's amazing for the expression capabilities, it's amazing for portability, but this thing was not made to kind of be a super realistic, semi-weighted, ultra velocity sensitive keyboard. So if you're getting it for piano parts or things like that, this may be not the perfect tool for you, but if you want something that can kind of supplement that, if you want something that can add that expression, if you want something that can kind of give you a completely different feel than a typical MIDI keyboard, that's when I would check this out. I just want you to be aware that this thing was made to specifically work with expression and not necessarily velocity, so just go in mind with that. With that said, I would 100% recommend this as a tool to any studio. I think it's just such a cool thing to have and to be able to play synths in a completely different way than your kind of standard keyboard or MIDI instrument or synthesizer. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed my review of the Roli Piano M. Again, if you're interested in winning one, you can enter our YouTube giveaway. Just go ahead and comment before December 16th and head over to our Instagram if you want a chance to win an Instagram as well. And a big, big thank you to Roli for actually sponsoring this week's content and sending over these Piano Ms. I am really, really loving these. You'll probably see these popping up in a lot more videos, but I wanted to give it a full highlight because this thing did so many more features than I expected. So I figure it'll be a good highlight to all of you guys as well. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back next week with more content on Friday. I'll see you soon. Much love. Peace.